Oh boy. I gotta be honest. It's very rare for me to have an emotion other than manic insanity. To feel anger, annoyance. It's rare. I remember the first time I actually felt angry. I was 4 years old. I was watching this television show. And so in the middle of the show, the characters turned into unrecognizable shapes. And I cried and screamed. My parents came running in wondering what's wrong, and I told them I can't see the characters on the TV. I can't see you. I can't see Dad. And they said, sweetie, we're right here. And I said, I can't see you. And I was angry. And I was hysterical. Prescription pills and years of therapy later, here I am. Now you may be wondering, why did I tell this story? Simply put, I told this story because what I'm going to say, I want everyone to listen. I want Lodestar to listen. I want Rick C to listen. I want RCCW to listen. I want the VWU to listen. I want all of you to listen. Even you, Malik. I want you to listen. Because I'm only going to say this one time. And then I'll go back to being myself. I'll go back to being the Steven Zayn that just mocks and ridicules everyone and doesn't care about your war. But even I am getting very tired of the same constant infighting. And no one seems to see it. First, let's get to the main issue. Let's get to an event that's going to happen, a crossover event between RCCW and UWL. Now, I'm going to be there, of course. Am I going to do something? Don't know yet. I didn't get a phone call. But there's going to be a match. Lincoln Loud versus Malik Brown. And Lodi, Babula, darling. Don't worry, I'm not trying to hit on you. You and I like this very same thing. I get it. You said that we should not take Lincoln Loud lightly. We should take him as the threat that he is. We shouldn't take anyone lightly, you ask. And then you said that there are a lot of people who don't take Lincoln seriously. And when I read that tweet, the first thing that went in my mind is, she must be talking about me! 'Cause I most definitely don't see Lincoln as a threat. A lot of people, you're right, don't see him as a threat. But do you know who those people are? I'll tell you who they are. But first, let me say why I don't see him as a threat. Oh. Look at that. My hand's twitching. I guess this is where the anger's coming in now. It all started at Prestige, where Lincoln fought Spike Spiegel. And he outplayed him, scumbagged him, to say the least. And he won. He beat him. And in one moment, he up and decided, after realizing he didn't get fanfare, he goes on a tirade about how the VWU doesn't care about him, doesn't care about the company, doesn't care. They only care about their prized possessions, their chosen ones, their prodigal sons. I have just one thing to say. So listen closely. Fuck fuck you. Fuck you. And the festering vagina that spewed you and your sisters out. Because you have no right to say any of those things. You have no right to sit there and pretend like you're some crusader for the voiceless. You got a chance to be on that show. I couldn't even get a phone call. And plenty of others didn't get a chance. There's a lot of guys and girls out there that didn't get an opportunity. But you and your company did. And now you want to sit there and say that the VW didn't care? You got your chance. Hell, I wasn't even in my own festival block. I did not get my chances. Just like everyone else. But you did. You got your chance. And then you spit in everyone's face. Including Rick's. Which, in a way, Rick, you kind of deserved it. Because you didn't teach Lincoln one thing about the wrestling business, which, by the way, we're in the wrestling business, mind you. You didn't teach him the one thing. He is not the center of the universe. The world does not revolve around him. There are so many other guys out there that have worked just as hard as him and have been screwed over and been left behind and never got a chance to even showcase their skills to the VWU, because that's the place people want to be. You coddled him, babied him, and this is what you get. You brought this monster. You're just as responsible. So don't get mad when everyone else doesn't take him seriously, because it's partially your fault. You didn't teach him how the world worked. So don't go blaming everyone else for that. But while I do put the blame on you, Rick, in some way, I blame Lincoln just as much. That's why I don't see him as a threat. And besides, threats are like a season. They're there one moment and they're gone the next, replaced with another one. And even then, he's a threat. I'm admitting it. But he's a threat to your house. He's a threat to RCCW. He's a threat to everyone in that company. But he's not a threat to the ones outside of said company. He's an annoying cockroach at worst, a hindrance at best. Because trust me, if he was a threat, the moment he beat Spike Spiegel. And I'm going to say this because, let's not forget, I was part of the global wrestling monopoly for a bit. The moment he beat Spike Spiegel, Tiger the Great III would have walked out and he would have decapitated him in front of everyone. And I mean everyone. And just for an added bonus, but he's too civilized to do such things, he would piss in the hole where his head used to be. Just to make an example. But he didn't. Because he didn't see Lincoln as a threat. He saw him as a meat shield, just like how he sees all the other wrestlers. You know what? Hold on. Before I get back into this, because there's another person I want to talk about. Hi, Queenie. How's Maxie doing? I bet he's relieved to be in a comfortable place now, knowing that Ludwig and Tiger and all of them failed to save your little brother. But you want to know a secret? I got a secret for you. See, while I was torturing him, do you know who he was crying out to the most? He was crying out to you. He wanted you, Queenie. He cried out to you. He didn't cry out to Ludwig. He didn't cry out to Tiger. He didn't cry out to anybody else. He didn't even cry out to his mother or his father. He cried out to you. Now that's real love. When someone is meeting death at its door, they always do cry out to the ones that matter the most to them. What do you know? He mattered to you. But at the end of the day, Should we treat Lincoln like a threat? Of course, but not because he's capable of doing something that only a few select people in the world could possibly do. No. Because let's be perfectly honest. When he goes into that match with Malik, if he somehow wins, it won't be because of his own merit. It will literally be because he had to take advantage every possible way he can, because he's one of those men that likes to think that cheating is a form of intelligence. No, it's a hindrance. Even somebody like me understands the concept of doing things on your own. You're supposed to be the champion of a company, and you couldn't even show that you were on the upper echelon of everyone else. At least Luka Khan showed that he can hold his own with anyone. What have you shown? Except a penchant for running your mouth. See, you can say what you want to say about me, but when I went face to face with Raditz, I took the fight to him. When I went toe to toe with Jamal Bedlam, not only did I beat him the first time, I stood my ground against him because I don't need help. I don't need to use advantages. I am my own advantage. So while you sit there trying to dress like Two Twisted Merc, realize one thing. No matter what kind of guy he was, Two Twisted Merc was still something you'll never be. A competent wrestler. Because when the chips were down, he still fought when he needed to. You better do the same thing. Because if not, you're going to experience what the JC Wolves, the Atlas Jones, the Zach Stones, even if he did beat him, and even us at the Battle Pro Academy had to learn. You're going to learn the concept of baptism under fire, and you're not going to like it. That's what I think of your threat. And that's what the world thinks of your threat. Now, for the love of God, quit pointing the finger at your friends and start understanding where they come from, instead of losing yourself over and over and over again in your own mind. 'Cause trust me, when you start listening to the voices in your head, they don't help you. Don't be Carmen. Don't be Akira. Have faith in the people around you, because they haven't steered you wrong yet. So why are you trying to steer them wrong now? Oh, and if everybody's in the VW, for God's sakes, quit isolating people. Just stop. You wonder why you have so many enemies? It's because of your attitude. I was willing to burn your doors down for the global wrestling monopoly because you never gave me a chance. Brett Haskins did unsavory things just to get where he's at, because for 7 years, longer than that, he never got the opportunity to showcase his skills when he was miles ahead better than who you had as the champion before Malik ever had that belt. You need to open your eyes and stop being stubborn and understand that you guys are fighting a war against a soulless company that will manipulate and use every advantage they can to destroy you. And you should know better. Stop repeating the mistakes of your past. You're smarter than that. I know you are. Oh, and Glimmy, Starlight, yeah, Lodi, Bobula, I don't give a fuck that she's a pony. But what I do care about is that this little Adolf Hitler is trying to act like she gives a damn about equality when she doesn't. Yes, let's go off on equality. Ooh, yes, equality. Let's make that word just as useless as democracy. And, oh yeah, really? Go after Carmen? Oh yes, totally hasn't been done before. Why don't you sound like every other repressed prude on Twitter that just cries at Carmen every time she breathes? We get it. You feel inadequate around her. Deal with it. and actually do something. Because I know, truthfully, you don't care. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If you ever use Charles Schultz as a statistic, I will personally hunt you down. Don't try me. I will do it. I'm not afraid. So I await your little Twitter post where you passive-aggressively try to say that, ooh, I must be famous again. Yes. Sleep well tonight, Lincoln. Sleep well tonight, Starlight. You're gonna need all of it. Because reality is gonna come crashing down on you. And when it does, you won't be able to lift yourselves up. And you're gonna realize real quick that life is just not fair.